there, my name is Christina and I am an animal health technology student attending Olds College, and today I will be talking to you about a tapeworm called Echinoccocus multilocularis. Echinoccocus multilocularis is a very small tapeworm measuring only about 2 to 4 millimeters in size in the fully grown adult stage. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about a tapeworm, I think about one that measures at least a few inches that we can very easily see in our pet's feces or in the vomit if they have an infestation, which makes it very difficult to tell if our pet is infected with Echinoccocus multilocularis because of the very small size. Echinoccocus multilocularis is also a very dangerous tapeworm because it can cause a very serious disease called alveolar echinococcosis. Now, this disease is where the larva of the tapeworm makes its way to major organs such as the liver, which is the most common one, where it will develop asexually and create cysts that behave like tumors, which take over the entire cavity or the entire organ that is affected. We can see in this slide here that this is an example of a mouse that has the alveolar echinococcosis disease. So we can see there are some cysts that have attached to an organ and that have multiplied to the point where it has completely taken over the mouse's body. We can only assume that this was the cause of death because of the severity of the infestation there. Now, you might ask, are we at risk for this disease? Are our pets at risk for this disease? And the answer is yes, but I will explain that with the help of the life cycle of the tapeworm. So the Echinoccocus multilocularis tapeworm lives in the small intestine of what we call definitive hosts. Now, these hosts are most commonly foxes and coyotes, but can sometimes be our own pet dogs. So while this tapeworm is in the small intestine of the definitive host, it is breeding and creating eggs, and these eggs are shed into the feces. Now that these eggs are in the environment, animals and humans are now at risk for ingesting these eggs. The most common animal and what we call the intermediate host are small rodents, and they are the ones that most commonly ingest these eggs. Now, once these eggs are ingested, what we call the egg sac is released inside and makes its way to major organs, most commonly the liver, where it will develop and multiply and create the alveolar echinococcosis cysts. Now, us humans and our dogs as well can also be what we call accidental hosts. So, since these eggs are in the environment everywhere, our dogs and ourselves, we can come in contact with these eggs without even knowing it because they are so small in size, they are microscopic. So the same thing will happen with us where the egg sac is released, the larva makes its way to major organs, and it will multiply and create this very nasty disease. Now, if our dogs, because some of our dogs tend to hunt mice. Now, if our dogs hunt the mice that are infected with this tapeworm or the larva of the tapeworm, if the larva is in a certain stage, when the pet ingests the dead rodent or even the alive rodent, the larva will make its way to the small intestine while it will grow into the adult stage, and that is how our dogs become definitive hosts, because then those adult tapeworms are now in the intestine and they're breeding and creating eggs. Now, we can see in this slide here, this is an egg comparison. So Echinoccocus multilocularis eggs and Tinea tapeworm eggs, which are just most common usual tapeworms, the eggs look very similar. So on this side here, these are Echinoccocus eggs, and on this side here, this is a Tinea tapeworm egg. So we can see that they're very, very similar, which means that it's very difficult to tell the difference between the two, and if your pet is infected with Tinea tapeworms or if they're infected with Echinoccocus tapeworms when the eggs are at that stage there. So it's very important to know that it's not easy to tell this tapeworm apart from other ones. Now, prevention is key. The only way to help prevent this tapeworm from spreading is to start taking precautionary measures when your pets are out in the environment, at dog parks, or if they're out in the wilderness. So picking up your pet's feces is number one. So if we are picking up their feces, we are now preventing those eggs to be spreading elsewhere. So sometimes we don't even know that our pets are infected, and by picking up our feces, we are minimizing the risk of these eggs being spread elsewhere. Not letting your pets hunt rodents is also very important. I know this can be difficult sometimes, but not letting them hunt rodents prevents them from ingesting rodents that have that infection in them as well. And not letting your pets wander unsupervised is also very important because they can come in contact with feces that you can't see that is miles and miles away. So I know that it's very difficult when your pets are off leash sometimes, but hopefully if everybody makes an effort and picks up all their feces, off leash parts will become safe again, where pets can run around freely and not have to worry about being infected with Echinoccocus. So the only way to treat an adult infection is with a drug called praziquantel. So your local veterinarians should have these medications on hand, and if you go down and speak to them about your concerns, together you should be able to devise a deworming plan where we can be on a frequent deworming schedule to prevent the risk of these adults growing in the intestines if animals come in contact with them. And unfortunately, the only way to treat alveolar echinococcosis is surgical resection, or there's a drug out there that helps kill the larva, which prevents the cyst from growing. So this tapeworm is very dangerous, and I hope that we have all been made aware of the measures that should be taken to help prevent this tapeworm from coming into our homes and infecting our pets as well. Thank you.